Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today is a little bit of a bittersweet day for me as I am getting ready to say goodbye to my Kearney Trecker Model 2H horizontal milling machine. This machine has been in my shop now for about 12 years. I purchased this machine from a gentleman up in Chattanooga, Tennessee area about 12 years ago. Brought it down for quite a long time. It was in the shop out at the museum until I got my own personal shop built, and then I finally moved my equipment home here where it's been ever since. And then you guys that are regular viewers of my YouTube channel, there's no doubt you've seen me do quite a few projects on this machine over the years. It is, like I say, kind of bittersweet to say goodbye to her, but I am excited because I've got something coming in here to replace her that I think is going to be a little bit more well suited for my shop, and we'll be getting into that a little bit more later on. So posted this thing up for sale on Instagram and Facebook and found a buyer from the Gainesville, Florida area. He is on his way up here right now to pick it up, and we're going to load it up on his trailer, and he's going to take her home with him and hopefully give her years more of good use. But with that, I just wanted to kind of start this video off by showing you the old, and we're going to be bringing in the new next. Guys, today I am excited because we have a new piece of machinery in the shop. This is something that I have been actually looking for quite some time now, and that is an upgrade on my horizontal milling machine. Over the years, I have come to the conclusion that that machine was just a little bit too small for some of my needs. And I've just always wanted one that was just a little bit bigger than what I had, mainly because I work on a lot of larger size stuff, and that machine was just a little bit too small. Here recently, I was fortunate enough that I found the 2H's big brother, and this is a Kearney Trecker Model 3H, so basically one size larger in the lineup. The K&T made a 4H, they also made a 5H. When you get up to that 4H and 5H, you're getting in some really big machines. And just to kind of give you an idea of the difference between the 2H and the 3H going up from one to the other, the 2H plane that I had, it weighed, according to the catalogs and stuff, about 3,750 pounds. This 3H, or universal that I have now, weighs about 6,450 pounds. So almost, not quite, almost twice the weight. And the big thing for me is it has a much larger table on it. So the working surface of the 2H, let's see here, according again to the specs, was 10 inches by 50 inches. So 10 inches wide, 50 inches long. The 3H Universal is 13.5 inches, so about 3.5 inches wider in this direction by 64 inches, so about 14 inches longer. That gives me a lot more working area that I can work on, mount stuff to, and be able to work off of. So again, I'm really excited about this machine. Let me kind of zoom you in here. I'm going to show you a few features on this machine. Some things are a little bit different on it compared to the other one. And I don't know, we'll run it through its paces. I don't have it set up to machine anything right now, but kind of show you what we got. So first off, just a little bit of history on this machine. It's interesting that the serial number on this is 28-5000. Now the way K&T did serial numbers is they would have a lot of machines that they would make all at one time, and their serial number is the number of machines in that lot. So this was lot 5000, and it was the 28th machine in that lot. And according to the records, there were 75 machines built just like this in that lot, and the last one was delivered in 1946. We know from the serial number records that it doesn't tell exactly when the first one was delivered, and a lot of times these lots, even though there may be other lots of the same machine going on, it may take a year or two before they actually do the last one, but the date is when the last machine was shipped out of that lot. More than likely, this machine was ordered in a batch of 75 machines during World War II. And we know from some of the other tags on here, this one here, the Birmingham Ordnance District War Department, that indicates that it would have been built during World War II. I'm thinking toward the latter part of World War II. And it was shipped to Birmingham, Alabama. There's a machinery dealer's tag on there also from Birmingham, Alabama. And there was an ordnance plant over there that the machine was used for making ordnance during the war. My guess is this machine was probably built sometime in 1945. We don't know exactly though because of the way that K&T kept their records. After the war, when the war production went out, this machine was put on surplus and it was actually purchased by Georgia Tech. And you can see actually on the tag there, they have Georgia Tech scratched in there. I know that the person that I purchased this from actually got it from Georgia Tech when they were selling out some of their machinery, I think about 20 or 25 years ago. So we pretty much know its history. It went into an ordnance plant toward the latter part of World War II. Probably did not see a whole lot of use because the war ended shortly after this machine would have been delivered. May even have been delivered after the war was over. Just really don't know exactly. And then it was surplus and picked up by Georgia Tech. And more than likely at Georgia Tech, this was a machine that was in their machine shops and would have been used by students. It probably did not see a whole lot of production use during that time, which is good because it should indicate that the machine should be in fairly good shape, assuming that the students at Georgia Tech didn't crash it or something crazy like that. And there's no real indications on here that I can see that show any abuse on this machine at all. So anyway, just a little bit about its history. I will point out it is a Model H, it's a Model 3H, and it is a universal model. And we'll talk about what makes it a universal here in just a minute. So we got a speed set up here that determines the speed of the spindle. There's a lever here, you can flip it over from one to the other. Notice one side's red, one side's black, and it matches one of these two cogs here. So high and low range, the speed range on here, depending on where you put it at, is anywhere between 20 RPMs and 1,000 RPMs. And you can just flip this thing around by moving that handle. We're on 355 RPMs right now. Sounds real good. Here on the front, of course, you got your in and out, as well as your up and down. You put these in. You can manually raise and lower the table. Your other direction here is on the end. You put this in and you can turn it and it will move the table. Also has the rapid traverses. So right now we're in 30 inches per minute on just regular mode, but your rapids here work very good. Happy with that. No slipping of the clutch or the ball detents like we had in my old 2H that I had to fix. We also got rapid in and out here and rapid up and down. All that works great. One really neat feature that I like about this mill that my other 2H did not have is you can actually control the rapids for the table in a couple of directions from over on the back side of the machine. So oftentimes when you're setting up a machine to do a job, you're actually on the back side of the table working over here instead of in front. So here we got rapids. That's table in and out. And I got them both engaged there. Hang on a second. Here we go. Up and down. Very nice here. I believe that there's a handle that you can put in here to hand crank them, although I don't have that handle. I got to check on that and see if I can maybe locate a handle to go in there. I think you could just move the handle from one to the other, but did not have that piece when I got it. One of the things that I'm really excited about is if you look on this column back here, you can actually still see the original scrape marks that were put in here all the way down, even down here low where the table was moving up and down. Down here on the saddle, I don't see much scrape marks in here, maybe a little bit when you get out toward the ends, but as it normally happens, things get a little bit dinged up out here because people are dropping stuff on the table. But again, no big deal. In here, you can actually still see some of these little dark spots. That is the bottom side of the scrape marks that are in there. So it has not worn below the scraping, which again is a good indication that it's not seen a lot of use. And another thing that's really promising is these brass way wipers in here. There should be some felt behind those, but these are in excellent shape. I'm pretty sure these are going to be original to this machine, and they're still there and they're in good shape. Again, a sign that the machine did not see a tremendous amount of use over the years. Now, I talked a minute ago about this machine being a universal machine, what they call a universal. Kearney Trecker sold, really most of the milling machine companies sold their machines in both the plain model and a universal model. And what makes this a universal, if you look right down here, there's a graduated area where this table will rotate. I don't remember how many degrees in each direction, but you can loosen the screw in the front. I think there may be one in the back too, and you can actually rotate the table by several degrees in either direction and have the table run at a little bit of an angle rather than having it running perfectly true. This was particularly useful in setups when you were cutting things like spiral gears, where you needed to have the table moving at an angle to the cutter rather than running straight with the cutter. So they offered these machines in both plain and universal models. They sold by far many more of the plain models than they did the universal. But I'm really happy that this is a universal. I can tell you I've never needed this feature, but it's mighty nice to know that I got it if I ever do. And now that I've got a universal machine, who knows, I may play around with trying to make some spiral gears at some point, because I do have a dividing head that theoretically I could rig up to do spiral gears, although I need leads attachment and some gearing to make that work. But without the universal option, I never had that option before. As far as what I got with the machine, it did come with one of the overarm supports, and it's interesting that the overarm support is actually the serial numbers match. So I know that this is the original overarm support that came with this machine. Now, when this machine was new, it probably had two different overarm supports. There's an A style and a B style, the difference being the size of the bushing that goes up front. This is the one that I use 95% of the time. I can't remember if this is the A or the B. I think this is the B arbor, if I remember right. I may have it backwards, but it would be nice to find the other style arbor with the smaller hole, because I have used that on my previous K&T. And the reason that I didn't just keep the arbors off the other one is when you went up a size, the size and the spacing of these overarm supports is different. So the overarm supports and the things that mount to this machine are different sizes than the 2H that I had previously. So I sold all of that with my old machine, would not have been able to use it. The other thing that I would really like to find for this machine is a universal head. I did have a universal head for my 2H. I sold that with the machine. The person that bought it bought the universal head. I gave him the option of buying just the machine or buying both. He opted to keep the universal head with it. So I would like to get a universal head for this. What the universal head allows you to do is to actually use it like a vertical milling machine, or depending on the type of head you got, you can actually spin it around in all kinds of funky angles. So you could like have it cutting at a 45-degree angle or something like that. That is something I would like to be. I'm going to be on the lookout for one of those. If anybody knows where a universal head for a Model 3H is, I'd be very interested in the Model 3. It was the same universal head that also fit the Model 2K, by the way. The 2K and the 3H were basically the same size machine made by K&T. They had a few different features, but I'm not sure why K&T did that and why they numbered them differently either. The 2K and the 3H are very similar, and they take the same attachments and stuff from one to the other. But I am on the lookout for that if anybody knows where one's at. I would love to pick one up for this thing to add a little bit more versatility to it. So I'm going to show you something I get asked all the time about these K&T horizontal mills, and that's on to do with the overarm supports. So there's this big hand wheel on the side that moves them in and out. There's a big rack and pinion in here, and of course you can adjust those overarms as needed. But one thing about these is if you pull on the handle, it pulls the rack out, and now it's only moving one of the overarm supports. It's not moving, it's one but not the other. The question that I get from people all the time, you push it back in and they both move. Why do they have that? Why is that important? Here's why. When you're building an arbor, sometimes you need to get the overarm out of the way. So what you could do is pull this out and move one arm in, swing this up, move it back out. Now you got your overarm out of the way where you can work on building your arbor. And then when you get ready to put it back in, slide it down. There we go. And we will get them both lined back up again. Slide our arbor in, or slide our rack back into our pinion back into the rack, and now they're both moving together again. That's why. So if you never knew, now you know. Another nice thing, and I haven't tested it out yet, but I was told that it worked, was that this one has the coolant pump built into it, and supposedly it is working. The previous owner told me he had gone through it, cleaned it up, done some work to the coolant pump, and it does have coolant. I think he's got cutting oil in here right now down in the sump, but we can actually take a piece of piping over here and actually have cutting oil or coolant going onto the work while it's working. That's something else I never had. My 2H, it had a pump on it. I never actually tried it. I think that pump that was on there was probably, had not been working. It could probably have been fixed, but I never actually put coolant or anything in the sump on it. But this will be a nice addition as well, having that option. So this machine also came with some tooling. I'm not going to show all of that, but we got some overarm supports, we got some end mill holders, et cetera, to go with this. Interestingly, in that collection of cutters and stuff, let me show you what they did have. So there was a drive gear in there to drive a universal head, or the vertical head. I'm not sure exactly which gear this goes with, but these gears are as rare as hen's teeth. Very often you can find the universal head, but you don't have the drive gear to drive it. But this one came with a drive gear, which tells me that at some point in time there was probably a universal head that was with this machine as well, but it got separated somewhere along the way. My guess is that when Georgia Tech auctioned this thing off, the auctioneers didn't realize that the head went with it, and either scrapped it or sold it in a different lot, and they got separated, which is very unfortunate, but it's not uncommon either. But I am happy to have a drive gear. I'm going to assume that this drive gear actually works with the universal head for this machine. So even if I can find a universal head without a drive gear, I have a pretty good chance that hopefully I can make them work. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And again, that was included with the lot of tooling that came with this machine. Some of that tooling was redundant to me. I had already got a pretty good collection of 50 taper stuff. So I've gone through and kind of pulled all my duplicate stuff out. I kept stuff that was unique, but my duplicate stuff, the person that purchased my 2H is interested in some of that tooling, so we're going to probably work out a deal with him so that he can have some tooling to go along with it. Because when I sold it to him, I didn't have any extra tooling at that time, but since I did pick up some extra stuff with this one, I'm going to work out a deal with him on that. So there you go, new machine for the shop. Very excited to have this. This is going to give me a lot more versatility, going to allow me to do some bigger work that I haven't been able to do before. And honestly, I think that this machine is in tighter and better condition overall than the one that I sold. The one I sold, while it was definitely a usable machine, you guys saw me use it for many years, there was also no doubt that machine was set up and running production jobs for a big part of its early life. And it did have a lot of wear in it and some quirks to it. Again, it was completely usable, did great work, but I think that this machine is much tighter, doesn't have as many hours on it, and hopefully it's going to do better for me over the long haul. Previous owner had already just recently flushed out all the oil, put brand new oil and stuff in here, so I don't need to have to worry about doing that. It's pretty much ready to go. The only thing I've really got left to do to this is I'm going to put some leveling feet up underneath it, get this machine leveled up. And I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time doing some inspection on it, checking the tables for any kind of flex, adjusting gibs, things like that to get it just set up just right. And hopefully we'll have it ready to start using. I did keep the dividing head, the K&T Model H dividing head. It's the same dividing head that would have been used on any of the Model H machines. And I already had that. I did not sell that with my 2H. So I do have my dividing head that will fit right up on this thing and be ready to go. Interestingly, this machine came from Georgia Tech. My dividing head came from the University of Georgia. So hopefully they're going to get along with one another and not get in rivalry disputes that we've been having for years between Georgia Tech and University of Georgia. And my personal opinion is if they do get into a fight, the dividing head's going to win, because Georgia's going to beat Georgia Tech every time. I'm a Bulldog deep down. Well, guys, with that, that is going to be a wrap on this video. I hope you guys enjoy seeing my new toy for the shop, and I'm sure that we'll be doing some videos coming up soon. You get to see this machine in action doing some work. I've got several horizontal mill jobs coming up soon, and again, very excited to have this new, larger, heavier machine in the shop, and we're going to be able to use it for many jobs. I'll also mention that this is going to be a busy weekend for me. We brought this machine in on Saturday, and then today on Sunday afternoon, I'm actually shooting this on Sunday right after lunch, but a little bit later today, my mystery machine that I keep hinting about is supposed to be showing up. It's supposed to be on its way here right now. We've got a big forklift out here outside to unload with, so I'm hoping that by the end of the day we're going to have my mystery machine at least in the shop. So once I kind of get it in here where we can shoot some video, we'll share with you guys and let you know what that is. Getting all kinds of guesses from folks as to what they think I'm bringing into the shop, and I haven't really given any hints on it. So hang loose. Coming soon, hopefully coming very soon, you'll get to see what the mystery machine is. Guys, that is a wrap. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those comments and thumbs ups are appreciated, and we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.